Right, a quick video just on coolant change. I know a lot of people can do this with their eyes closed, but I thought it's probably worth just putting up a couple of things that are specific to the SV1000 and possibly the 650. I'm all done now, but I'll put up some photos while I'm talking to this, which will illustrate what I've done. One thing I worked out, and a lot of people might know this already, is you don't have to take the front fairing off to get to the radiator cap. Essentially I've just taken this bolt out, and you can sort of bend this out within reason to allow access to the radiator cap that's tucked away under here, and it allows you to get your hand in and remove the cap so that you can drain it. There's two screws, or bolts I should say, on the side. The one that you use for draining is this one. That has to be retightened to 5.5 Newton meters. There's also a bleed screw here for air from the water pump. Suzuki wouldn't have added this at cost, and like there's a cost of the screw plus the cost to machine and put the thread into the casting, so they wouldn't have added this unless they genuinely thought that there was an issue with air getting trapped up in this top half of the pump. So if you read the manual, or if you don't have a copy of the manual, I can give you a quick run through now, but essentially after you've drained all your fluid out here, so you crack this nut open, take it out, let it drain. Obviously you loosen the radiator cap behind here. Once you've drained your fluid out and you've replaced this, and you refill I should say, up through the main filler spout up here. Once you've put in your 2.25-ish litres of coolant, before you start the motorbike at all, there's an operation where you can bleed air from here by just cracking this open until fluid comes out. Now I did that, and there was actually a little bit of a pause in between cracking it and air coming out, so it did suggest that coolant coming out, so it did suggest that there was an air pocket here as a result of emptying it and refilling it. Another thing I found, as far as if you want to do a proper change where you're getting rid of all your coolant from the reserve tank, rather than sort of, I did take the seat off and hinge the tank up just to get access to the filler, because I filled this separately. But if you want to drain it, the overflow pipe runs up here into the side, and there's a clip, little compression clip that you can undo with pliers. And I just actually pulled this hose out, hooked I think it's a 6mm bit of clear hose to the end of it, just pushed it in, and then I was able to siphon the fuel out, the coolant out of here without having to fiddle around trying to remove the overflow hose from this side to empty it that way, which would be a lot more messier. And these things are pretty fragile given the age of the bike. I notice they're prone to breakage, so you want to try and minimise the fiddling around that you do with this. As far as the fill process is concerned, I use an old plastic jerry can hose to basically thread in under here. Sorry, out of view. Thread it in under here and get into the radiator filler at the top. So I just had this coming out with a funnel here. Aside from that, it's a pretty simple process. Just a couple of points on what to do after you've finished filling. It's always a good idea to cycle the engine a couple of times, hot and cold. I do it usually once at idle, particularly on this bike. I get it up to about 80 degrees, 85 degrees C, and then let it cool. What that'll do is it'll expand the fluid that's in the engine and any air that's in there, and it'll get pushed out into the overflow. You'll see this overflow tank come right up as a result. And then when the engine's turned off and it cools, it'll draw it back in. This engine's only been switched off for about 5 minutes, and it was well above full when I did turn it off, and now it's already below the high mark indicator, so I expect to probably come down to about middle range between the two, which is good. So do that at least once, probably the second time you do it. Take it for a spin, get it up to proper running temperature, and with a few revs it'll pump any bubbles through as well. But probably the key point to remember just in this whole video, and look, I actually wonder if the dealers do this, but if this is there and if this bolt's here to vent air and get rid of air pockets, it's probably a good idea to use it, given that this is the heart of the whole cooling system, and any air in there is going to impede the pump's performance. Anyway, thanks again for watching, guys. If you thought this was worthwhile, give the like button a tickle, and we'll hope to see you again soon. Cheers.